In the opening of the film, the focus is on a girl named Claire. Following the death of the hotel business owner's father, Claire finds herself left with her stepmother, who inherits the entire business. During an early morning run, Claire falls victim to a kidnapper who seizes her and places her in the trunk of a vehicle. The criminal speeds away, navigating a forested road. An unexpected encounter with a wild boar on the road leads to a crash into a tree, providing Claire with an opportunity to escape the trunk. Taking advantage of the situation, she flees through the forest. However, Claire's escape is short-lived as she reaches a point of uncertainty, causing her to stop. Her captor catches up with her in the forest, intensifying the suspense and drama of the storyline. The plot unfolds with Claire being held at gunpoint, instructed to close her eyes. A gunshot rings out, and when Claire regains consciousness, she finds herself in an unfamiliar house. Pierre, the man responsible for her abduction, enters the room with breakfast. He explains that he had intended to hunt wild boars in the forest but mistakenly shot a woman, assuming it was Claire. Pierre suspects Claire may have done something to provoke the incident, as he believes no one would aim to end her life without reason. When Claire suggests calling the police, Pierre vehemently opposes the idea, expressing a reluctance to return to prison. Exiting the room, Pierre returns with a change of clothes, having undressed and washed Claire while she was unconscious. As Claire explores the house, she encounters Vincent, a cellist, playing music. Enthralled by the music, Claire falls asleep, only to be awakened by Francois, Pierre's twin brother. The narrative takes a suspenseful and disorienting turn as Pierre, the abductor, insisting that Claire leave the house. He expresses concern that those who intended to harm her might eventually track her down, and he has no desire to face them. Claire attempts to persuade Pierre to let her stay, questioning the logic of saving her only to cast her out. Despite recognizing the illogical nature of his decision, Pierre raises his voice at Claire, prompting her to retaliate and punish him physically. In a surprising turn, Pierre then kisses Claire, a gesture she does not resist. The next morning, Claire departs the house and encounters Vincent and his dog. Learning that the twins are at the sawmill, Claire, reluctant to stay alone, asks Vincent to accompany her to the vet. On their way back, Vincent suggests stopping at a diner. During their conversation, Claire shares that she was once passionate about the violin as a child, but after an accident resulting in her mother's death, she abandoned her musical pursuits. Touched by her story, Vincent presents Claire with a violin, encouraging her not to give up on music. In a poignant moment, Pierre unexpectedly appears, introducing a new layer of complexity to the unfolding narrative. The plot takes a surprising turn as Pierre expresses unhappiness over Claire going out with Vincent, fearing that the entire town now knows a girl is staying in their house, increasing the risk of her discovery. From her room's window, Claire observes Pierre chopping wood. Approaching her, Pierre initiates a passionate encounter with Claire. Later in the night, while lying in bed, Claire hears the sound of a television. Investigating, she finds Pierre on the sofa and starts stroking his leg with her foot. Following their intimate moment, Pierre stutters and expresses intense thirst. Claire's realization sets in. It wasn't Pierre, but his twin brother, Francois, with whom she had shared that intimate encounter. The revelation adds a layer of complexity and confusion to the evolving relationships in the storyline. The narrative takes a twist as Francois realizes the mistake of his intimate encounter with Claire, acknowledging that he shouldn't have succumbed to the temptation of making her smile. The next day, Claire, eager not to become a burden to the twins, secures a job at a local diner. Upon returning home, she attempts to call her stepmother, Maud. However, the call is abruptly disconnected as soon as Claire mentions her name. The film then shifts to events a week before these occurrences. Maud, Claire's stepmother, observes from the window as her lover, Bernard, assists Claire in picking up a dropped towel. Once Bernard goes up to Maud's room, she suggests they stop hiding their relationship, as her husband is no longer alive. Deciding to take a break to prevent their fading feelings from worsening, Bernard calls Claire to confess his love just as Maud overhears in the next room. Enraged by the revelation, Maud agrees to eliminate Claire. Later, Bernard and Maud have lunch at a restaurant, where Bernard expresses concern about Claire's disappearance. Maud reassures him, explaining that Claire has vanished for several days before. Suddenly, Maud receives a call. It's Claire, but she declined the call, the diner where she works. Local attention is drawn to Claire, with Charles, a librarian, bringing his son to meet her, and Sam, a veterinarian, showing signs of interest. Sam invites Claire to a club in the evening, where she faces unwanted advances from a guy. Sam intervenes, defending Claire and knocking out the harasser with a single blow. On the way home, Claire expresses surprise at Sam's vulnerability, but she appreciates it. The veterinarian stops the car, and Claire, now drawn to Sam, repeats her sentiments. The two share an intimate moment, unaware of a curious crowd of squirrels watching them. The next morning, Maud arrives in town and encounters Charles in the library. Charles admires Maud's beauty, suggesting that she look into the temple for temporary accommodation. In a meeting with the pastor, Maud discusses her stepdaughter's disappearance, and upon learning Claire's name, the pastor indicates that he knows the girl. The narrative unfolds with Maud asking not to disclose Claire's presence to anyone to prevent her from running away again. According to Maud, Claire is upset that Maud did not pay enough attention to her. Maud proposes mediating and arranging a truce between Claire and her stepmother. One morning, Kleiman joins Claire for a run. Despite being shy, Kleiman attempts to hug Claire but ends up falling to the ground. Undeterred, Kleiman quickly gets up and continues running. Claire then goes to the temple and confides in the pastor about her relationships with several men. The pastor attributes the allure to the local mountains that stir the blood. The pastor reveals that there is a man in the temple longing for reconciliation with Claire and escorts her to Maud. Overjoyed to see her stepmother, Claire rushes into her arms. Maud explains that she found Claire because of a call that suddenly ended, allowing her to trace the location from the phone number. The film continues to explore the complexities of relationships and connections in the small town. The plot thickens as Claire shares the details of her experiences with her stepmother, expressing a desire to stay in the city where she has made many new friends. Maud doesn't object and decides to spend a few days in the town to persuade Claire to return home. When it's time for Claire to go to work, Maud offers her a ride, but on the way, she stops at the edge of a cliff. Pretending there's an issue with the wheel, Maud attempts to sneak up on Claire, intending to throw her off the cliff. However, their plan is disrupted when a pastor on a motorcycle approaches, checking if everything is all right. Failing to execute the intended act due to the unexpected witness, Maud takes Claire to the town, suggesting they meet on the next weekend. Unaware of the danger, Claire agrees. At the diner, Charles approaches Claire, seeking her help in resolving issues with his son, Kleiman. Charles explains that Kleiman has been distant, snapping at him, and refusing to talk. He believes Claire's intervention could help mend their relationship. After work, Claire visits Kleiman and professes her love to him, sharing a kiss. Later, at the library, she reassures Charles that everything is fine. As Sunday arrives, Claire and her stepmother embark on a picnic. In a chilling turn of events, Maud hands Claire an apple filled with poison, raising the stakes and leaving the audience on the edge of their seats. The tension escalates as Claire is about to bite the poisoned apple, but she doesn't see Kleiman in the fields. When Kleiman joins them and Claire hands him an apple, Maud intervenes, claiming she doesn't know him. Kleiman apologizes and leaves, while Claire sets down the apple and follows him. The two engage in a sexual encounter in the forest amid the rain. As night falls, Maud arrives in the town where dancing is underway. Observing Claire dancing with various partners, she orders 2 glasses of wine. Once again attempting to use a drug, Maud faces another setback when Kleiman accidentally drinks one of the glasses from her hands, revealing that he did it on purpose. Undeterred, Maud decides to make Claire feel sick by spinning her around and then places her in the car, pretending to take her home. Driving along a winding mountain road, Maud confesses that she was in love only once in her life, but Claire stole that love from her. The film continues to unfold with suspense and a complex web of emotions and relationships. The climax unfolds with Maud opening the car doors and pushing Claire out. After stopping, Maud approaches the cliff's edge to ensure that her stepdaughter's lifeless body is motionless. Satisfied, Maud departs. Following these events, Maud goes to the temple to light a candle but accidentally sets herself on fire. Surprisingly, Claire survives the ordeal, lying in a hospital bed. Surrounded by 7 men who love her, each takes turns approaching Claire and kissing her. With each kiss, Claire gradually regains consciousness, emerging from the harrowing experience. The film concludes with a blend of suspense, unexpected twists, and a sense of resolution in the intricate narrative.